just had to.
Okay. Welcome, this is the Conservation Commission meeting. Today is February 25th, 2014, and it's 7 p.m. I am Kathy Creighton. I'm filling in for the chair. I'm a member of the Conservation Commission. The rest of you want to introduce yourselves? Might as well do that.
Jerry Kelleher.
Mike Noonan. Russ Forsythe.
Bill Stone.
Okay. Under old business, we show the open space update. Joe's not here, and I think he was the one that was going to talk to the Rockland folks.
Okay, right.
About the trails.
Mhm.
So I think we probably should postpone that and wait.
Yep.
Everybody agree?
Agreed.
Okay. Are you okay with us doing the notice of intent on here, on the agenda, ahead of the correspondence? Everybody okay?
Mhm.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we're gonna move right to the hearing. We have a notice of intent. You wanna read it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the red. Do we have the notice that we posted in the newspaper? Okay. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on the notice of intent filed by Shane Crowley, JNS Realty Trust, 338 Brockton Avenue, Abington, for the construction of a single-family home on upland with 100 feet of a within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland and a section of driveway within a bordering vegetated wetland at 498 Linwood Street. And we're going to open the hearing. Do we have the butter cards, Nancy? Yeah. Okay. And I saw in the filings that the fees have already been paid. Everybody saw those, I think. And I didn't have any issues. Anybody have any issues? Do we have an abutters list to go with this? I don't know, somebody can check the card, maybe.
I got one if you don't have it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, usually it's in there, right? Okay, if not, we can do, since this is going to be a continued hearing, we can always get the list afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You guys could give us the abutters list to match it again?
Sure, I think James will come.
James got it? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the list. Excellent. Thank you. Okay. The way this normally works, can one of you check that they're on, the cards got all submitted? Well, the way this works is we're going to let the applicant do their presentation. The board will ask them questions, and then we're going to open it up to the public for questions. So if you can hold your questions until we get to the public piece of it, that would be great. We'll try to get as much information as we can on the table first. Okay. And would you gentlemen like to introduce yourselves and
Sure.
do your
I'm Russell
presentation?
Wheatley, and I'm here with Shane Crowley and my associate, John Cotter. And I guess I'll let John explain the layout to you. If you have any questions, if I can answer them, be glad to do so.
Great.
So, as Russ had stated, we have, I'm here with Shane Crowley. He is the owner of this property. It is a 28.7 acre parcel of land located on the west side of Linwood Street. Lot is, as you can see, the lot, as you come back from Linwood Street, is for the first part of it is an open meadow. From the open meadow, it becomes a heavily forested area, which runs from Linwood Street pretty much in a constant slope down to eventually down to the Beaver Brook. There's about elevation-wise, it's about from 160 elevation at Linwood Street to approximately 125 down to the Beaver Brook, which is a 35-foot drop in elevation. The lot itself has a large area of wetlands with 2 areas of upland that have been flagged. One area being here, a large area, and then a smaller area to the north of it. First area is flagged. The flagging goes sequentially from the start AA to up here at the west to AA 14, and then starts again, and it goes from AA 100 to AA 109, and this area is B flags from B star to B7. What we're proposing is a single-family house under the notice of intent with a driveway on the property. Proposed house will be 30 by 50 with a deck on the back of it. Driveway is approximately from Linwood Street to the back of the house, approximately 500 feet long, 12 feet wide. We have a wetland filling area. It's cross-hatched in here, you can see. Highlighted here, it's approximately 4,416 square feet. To the rear of the property here, we have highlighted a replication area, which is 8,832 square feet, which is approximately 2-to-1 ratio of wetland filling versus wetland replication. What we've done is we have engineered two lateral pipes, one here just beyond the property line for number 510 Linwood Street, which will pick up the water. There's a break. I observed it actually. There's a break in the stone wall here, and the majority of the water comes and flows in this direction. I can show you on the bigger plan, and into this pipe. It's an 18-inch plastic pipe, which will run under the driveway, eventually into the back of the property, which is the direction that it flows right now. And a secondary pipe here, a 12-inch pipe that has a yard drain in it. For the same reason, the water flows in here. The driveway does create somewhat of a dam because it is elevated. The yard drain will collect the water, run it through the 12-inch pipe, and let it continue on the path that it normally goes on. Both drains have been calculated for runoff. They've been checked by a separate engineer. He concurs with me about the size and the drainage area that we used, and so everything was done properly. We are proposing to put a silt fence or hay bale line, which is highlighted here in yellow. That's for mitigation during construction. It also will serve as a limit of work for the proposed site. Work being done here on the site is allowed under the Wetlands Protection Act. You're allowed to fill up to 5,000 square feet to utilize your property, as long as you mitigate or you replicate, which we've done. It is a single-family house. It's in the R40 zone, which is allowed. It's the only thing that's going to be built on this property. And I can show you, I can put this one down here and show you a larger scale that shows you where the house is located relative to all the property lines. It's going to be approximately 280 feet back from the property line of number 496 Linwood Street. And there's a stone wall that runs along the southerly property line, and the house will be about 410 feet more or less from the property line on the south side. Elevation-wise, the house itself here, with relationship to the houses that are on Linwood Street and are on Diane Circle, we are approximately, the foundation elevation here is at about 152. The grading down in here is going to be at about 146, 145. So we are downgrading it from any of the properties to the south. And with that being said, if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to.
I just want to point
Yeah, well,
out.
I think we're gonna have the board ask some questions first,
Yeah.
and then we'll let the audience speak. I just want to make sure the board gets their conversation in, and we may answer the questions.
What type of home is it? Is it a
Single family.
3-bedroom?
I believe
No?
it's a 3-bedroom with a garage under.
3-bedroom raised gate.
Okay.
How wide is the driveway?
12 feet.
And that's required by,
there's no requirement as far as driveway width is concerned. There was just the width that was, Shane had asked that they make it 12 feet wide.
I guess the question, the point here is that they are disturbing wetlands, so any place where we can minimize the disturbance, but I don't want to give them something that's not going to work either. You guys probably have a better sense of how wide a
Yeah,
driveway.
they're replicating the wetlands right here.
Yeah, they are.
The pipe underneath would be, that you've had that double checked by an engineer,
Yes.
and is that gonna be screened over? Or-
Well, there's gonna be riprap in front and
Okay.
on the outlet and the inlet, on both, on the outlets on both pipes and on the inlet on the one under the first
And
one
the
under the
the
driveway.
driveway here at the beginning is at 157,
Correct.
and the property next door with the barn is, what are they, do you know?
At the barn down here, they're at 150. I need new glasses. They're at 156, 157. But what happens is, if you look along here, along this line, the contours kind of go from the barn and they head up towards Linwood Street in here. So when we're filling, we're actually creating a swale along the side of that driveway. So any water that falls off the driveway there will still be directed towards the rear of the property.
So you're gonna take, and basically take the neighbor's property, their water, and flow it under your driveway?
And flow it eventually, yes.
Okay.
Which it does, it actually, in its existing condition, it does that, it pretty much does that anyway.
Right.
What we're doing is, because we have to raise the driveway
Right.
in order to cross the wetlands, we create a lateral pipe. So, and we size it enough so that whatever water has been flowing there can find its way to the pipe and can continue to flow
And you're gonna run a swale down these
down the side of the driveway.
driveway, so the water will flow?
Correct.
Okay.
Is the driveway paved or is it gravelled?
I believe it's gonna be paved.
I know the one we had over on Bedford Street, they ended up, they were supposed to gravel it. I don't think they did, but they were supposed to do it. The DEP came back for. That may be, we want to probably think about that. I don't know whether, is there a reason you wanted to go to paved? Or some, do you mind if we shut that door?
You can shut the door.
Well, it says public meeting, please enter on the door, so.
Oh, we told last time.
Yeah, he likes to leave it open a little bit.
Yeah, just leave it open a crack.
Just so the noise is down a little. I was just asking about whether we should gravel it. That's what they've done when we've crossed wetlands before, is that we've used a gravel path to get to the land, gravel driveway or some kind of porous media. I'm just asking the question. I think there's a lot of wetland, guys.
No, if they shed it right, if they shed the driveway right,
Yeah.
they'll let the water go off and then into what they want with the swale. I mean, if they did the gravel in it, it's gonna probably create a mess. They have to maintain it with this, if you had a winter like we're going through now,
Yeah,
it'll be nothing but holes.
Yeah, more of a chance of runoff
Yeah.
and creating, problems plowing and so forth. You might be plowing the gravel into the swale.
Today's pavers have a crown situation in them, so that they can set that right up and have no problem.
Have you guys flagged the property? Are the flags out
The
there?
flags are still there, yeah, the majority of them, yeah, you can still find, we weren't out there that long ago, you can find all of these flags and pretty much all of these flags.
All right. Has anybody gone out there?
Can we go on the property and look at it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should go out, don't you?
I went by today, and I didn't know if I could go on, so I was
Yeah.
waiting to ask them tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it would be, because there's a lot of wetland disturbance, that this is
Yeah.
pretty much right underneath the maximum of what we're allowed.
Is it clear enough to get out in the back?
Can we get
Yeah,
it?
bring your boots, but.
Yeah, okay.
Have fun.
You gotta go.
And you guys feel like you've minimized as much wetlands disturbance as you can? Is there anything that,
Yeah, actually, we picked the spot where the two lines are at its closest. We don't have a lot to work with because we only do have a 50-foot wide here, but we offset the driveway a little bit within that so that we could minimize minimize the crossing.
Okay. Well, we can't close the hearing tonight, so, and
understand
plus we
that.
want to go out to visit. We haven't gotten a number from DEP. They give us an official number. And if they have any comments, they'll let us know. And you're a good distance away from Beaver Brook, so you're
Oh,
not in the riverfront.
we're not- yeah,
and you're
we-
not in the 100-year floodplain.
Correct.
Okay.
And this is gonna be your own house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you guys have any questions for the applicants before we open it to the public?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This is pretty cut and dry.
Does anybody in the audience have a question, or would they like to
Is
take a
there
look at the?
stream in that general area that flows down to Beaver Brook? On this side?
It's not a stream, it's actually a,
There's actually a stream right in here that
it's right over
goes
here.
right down
Yep,
there.
it's shown right here.
Is that what that
It's,
is?
it's actually a drainage ditch.
No, really?
Yeah, it's a
Goes
ditch.
right
It
across the
goes right here, yeah, it flows right along here, back down into the Beaver Brook. And where it comes from, actually, is,
Got it nicely highlighted.
it comes all the way from Linwood Street. There's a lateral pipe that comes under Linwood Street, along, this property line here. There's a pipe, and it runs pretty much right along the property line, and it eventually runs to the back. It's in the summer-
intermittent?
Pardon me?
Intermittent?
Intermittent. It's dry in the summer. It's dry
According
as
to the
fall.
USGA map?
Excuse me?
USGA map?
It's not on,
that's what you-
it's
It's not on the map.
I did check
I
that.
did look too.
Well, because we've had drainage.
Oh,
ditches
absolutely,
Turn
absolutely.
into USG maps.
Mhm.
Yeah, but this one wasn't on it. Beaver Brook is the only one that shows up on the maps.
Correct.
And the trees that are there now, how are you gonna cut those trees down without disturbing the wetlands around that? 'Cause that is fully grown in there with,
Well, we're actually, to tell you the truth, we located the tree line, and for probably the first 300 and, well, the pipe's at about 300 feet, so at about 320 feet, it's in the meadow area, in the grass area, so there was gonna be very little tree cutting. Once you get into this area here, yeah, there'll be some trees that are gonna have
get
to.
around the house too. 'Cause
Taken down.
you
Oh,
don't want
yeah.
a tree falling on
Absolutely.
the house, right?
That's right.
So you're gonna be in the wetlands, cutting the trees down in the
No,
wetlands.
he can't go in the wetlands, he's gotta stay within,
We'll
he's
have
gotta
to
stay
fill
within
that
the
before-
buffer area that we
Right.
show, and in the town of Abington, conservation requires that you have a 10-foot, no-build zone between the flagged wetlands line and your activity, so there's 10 feet between the actual wetlands line
Very tight.
and the activity. Oh, yeah, it's,
Very
well, I
tight.
mean, it's a tight space, it is.
But there won't be any trees taken down within 10 feet of the wetlands.
And before the silt fence is put up.
Well, except for the wetlands. Oh, yeah, because for the most part, the wetlands that you're going through, the wetlands themselves.
Uh-huh. It's, most of it's a wet meadow.
Most of it's a meadow. You are taking some trees in the wetland down to, at the end, right?
At the end, yes.
Yeah, there will be a little bit, between the end, where the meadow ends, and
That's
where the
correct.
house lot is.
That's correct,
And then you'll be taking trees down at the house lot.
correct.
Okay.
To build this area right here, you're gonna have to cut down trees to make that right there?
Actually, what I've noted here is because if you walk in that area, you can see it's pretty precipitous. I mean, there's like a 6 foot slope differential from one side of the wetlands to one side of the uplands to the other. So what I've noted here is that what I'd like them to do is to clear out and not actually excavate it, but clear out all the pines and all the junk and everything that's in there, and come back with a wetland seed mix and come in and seed it. So it would come back as a wetland.
So we don't have a wetlands plan for that?
Not at this
A
time.
replication plan?
Not at this time. I have one in the process of being done.
Yeah, because I'd be concerned about the elevation that's there.
Uh-huh.
It's at the same elevation as the wetland next to it.
Right.
That was one of my comments, sorry, I just.
That's
forgot.
okay, that's okay.
But while we're talking about that, we will want a plan of how they're gonna do that work.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's in the works, they
Yes.
just hadn't gotten it to us yet. Because we wanna make sure it survives, and we're gonna require it to survive for a couple of years before we're gonna sign off on the
Would
certificate.
this have its own private sewer? Or are we on town sewer?
It's gonna be on town sewer. What we've shown is there's a grinder pump. It's gonna be outside the house, and then it's gonna be force mained up to Linwood Street to a manhole. here, and then gravity into the existing system.
No gas line going into this?
I don't see
There's
one.
no gas on the street.
Does the audience have any other questions or anything
Sure.
you'd like clarified? Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Rich McGrally, 340 Diane Circle. Excuse me for a minute. I just want to bring up the old original map that was handed out when they first went for this project, the Crowleys. Right here, third lot, not a buildable lot, and now they want to build on it. Okay. That's the original. Just to give you an idea where I live right here, okay? And this was just built recently. Okay, bear with me. Just want to show some pictures of my backyard of late, how it's flooding recently. And I never had these issues before they built the house up top here. And now I'm really concerned about them building in the uplands down here behind my house. That's my backyard. I can see where they want to build, right over here, okay? I have water issues just recently. I just kind of want to bring that out. Here is pictures of the property that they're going to be building on. Here are the trees that they'll be cutting down and the bushes and everything like
Take those
that.
pictures.
I took the pictures about 3 years ago.
I'd just like to point out that Mr. Negrelli used my property as his own personal hunting ground. So he has an interest in the property
All
rather
right.
than
Can
the
we,
wetland.
can we hold on and just let him have his say, and then we'll
Yeah.
let you talk?
Yeah.
Thank you.
That way we'll,
I just want to show you, this is really exciting because there's beavers back in Beaver Brook. These are evidence of the beaver. I think it's great, it's wonderful. It's something to think about though, because their land is attached to Beaver Brook. So these are definitely beaver cutting down the trees. And that's actually on the town property, okay, just in case you wondered.
That's 1,500 feet away.
I'm just saying, there's beaver
okay,
back
so,
there.
excuse me,
There's beaver back
can we
there.
let him?
Okay.
I want everybody to go through the chair so we keep this orderly, okay?
All right, so my concern is the wetland protection. Flooding the butters property, as you can see. Now, wetlands being filled, built upon, possibly altered, the water in the meadows coming into my backyard, the water flow in the wetlands could be disturbed. That's one of my concerns. Cutting down the trees, like I said, is going to probably cause some damage to the surrounding wetlands. This is virgin land. This property hasn't been touched probably in about 60 years. And the Crowleys knew what they bought when they bought it. They'll tell you straight out that they bought 30 acres, 28 acres of the wetlands we cannot touch. That's what they said, and it's in the minutes of the conservation meeting. Mr. Crowley said that the only property that we can build on is the 2 lots in front. Now they're going to the back. My concern is my property. You can say whatever you want, it's my property. The wetlands, this is the wetlands right here. This is conservation. This is what this property is. Unbuildable. It says it right there in Mr. Wheatley.
Right here,
The
sir.
plans, they're right there. It says right there, not buildable lot. 3, this is
That's because it
3.
didn't have a variance at the time.
I'm just saying, that's what it says.
That's what it has to stay at the time.
What about a wildlife study? Has there one done? I know for a fact that this property has many different animals in it, as you would say. And there are owls, fishy cats,
Huntable animal.
hawks,
Excuse
birds,
me, could you
turtles.
guys keep the comments down?
woodpeckers, and as I just showed you, beaver are back there now in Beaver Brook. I'm just concerned. I'm concerned about my property, concerned that this is wetlands.
Are we allowed to keep these
Yes, you
pictures?
are. Go right
Okay,
ahead.
I'm going to give them to Nancy to put in the file. And Mr. Negrelli's property is shown on the property here, so you can see where it is. And, you know, we are listening, or we understand
All right.
why you're concerned. It's your neighbors, you know. We
Yes,
understand
and
that.
I can, you know, this is wetlands. This is my property. Right now, I'm getting plenty of water.
Right, and they do have some upland there that they want access to. So that's what they're talking about here. But we aren't triggering, I just want to answer one of your questions about the wildlife. We're not triggering a threshold that requires us to do a wildlife habitat study, which is what you asked. I just want to make sure I answer that question,
Okay.
because I want to, there are thresholds, but they haven't reached that. And, you know, I'll let the applicants try to answer some of your questions about the drainage, because that's not that's their job to tell you. But I'd like to make sure that the board has
I
a
just have
response.
one question on those pictures. Everybody's property right now is wet with melting snow. When I see the melting snow behind there, I mean, it unless we saw that was wet on the dry part of the year, I mean, you can go in my backyard, and I'm way up.
You know,
I
I
have
gotta
just
wait till
water in general.
spring, definitely till spring and see what happens then.
Mm-hmm.
But, I
But
mean,
it's-
I've never seen so much water before, and I've had snow,
I-
I've been there 5 years, I've had snow melt before, and that's just unusual. That's my opinion, though, so.
Well, thank you. No, we
Sorry.
appreciate you
Thank you.
bringing your concerns.
Yep.
Does anybody else from the public have another?
If,
yeah.
so
Sure.
may I say something? So if we were gonna walk it, would you be available if we gave you a date?
Me?
Yeah.
To
I don't
go,
think Mr. Crowley wants me on his
All right,
property.
fine, no problem.
but will we be,
That's
do
understandable.
we have permission to go on your property?
Yes,
If we do,
definitely.
yeah, that might be that's
Definitely.
really what we want to do, is just see what it looks like, so we
Okay.
understand the connection. Okay. Yes.
My name's Jim Foley. I think it says Bethel on there, which is wrong, but what are you gonna do?
Where do you live? I'm sorry.
Oh, Bethel, the
Bethel,
second
yeah,
house
it
up,
should be
next to
Foley.
Fritz?
Oh, okay, great.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a small point. What is the threshold for a wildlife study out there?
I've forgotten, but I know.
It's actually, they have maps that show where the endangered species, it's called the National Heritage Endangered Species Program. And there are certain areas that are shown that fall within those areas. And if so, then we have to take it to another step, and we have to go in front of the National Heritage Association.
How about tree-wise? I mean, there's gotta.
Massachusetts does not have a tree
Right.
conservation. Some states like Maryland do,
Right,
but we
I know.
don't have a tree
Yeah.
conservation requirement.
Okay.
Okay, sure, I have a couple of letters here too, so if you're here and submitted them, I'll read them in a minute. Go ahead.
I just had a couple of quick follow-up questions to the presentation. I might not be pronouncing it right, but you said that there would be, is it riprap on either side of
Yeah.
the piping? What is that exactly?
What riprap is, it's basically stone. They take stone and they cut it into, it's kind of angular stone. It's usually about 6 inches to 8 inches. And they'll put it at the entrance and the exit of the pipe. And what that does is it stops growth from grasses and everything from growing up. It kind of stops any siltation from getting into the pipe, so it flows a lot easier.
I'm sorry, what is your name and your address? I should have asked you.
My name's Caitlin Rouse. I live at 352 Diane Circle.
Okay.
I'm engaged to the homeowner, Matt Hannigan.
Okay.
The swales that were mentioned, are those referenced specifically in the plan somewhere?
They're not referenced, they're just shown, they're shown graphically by the contours.
Okay. And then, was a pitch ever considered on the driveway to angle away from the abutters to sort of mirror the natural pitch of the land?
Well, the pitch of the land is actually where the driveway is almost at right angles to the direction of the driveway. So what we plan to do is put a slight crown on the road, so the runoff will run on both sides of the driveway.
And then into the
And
swales.
And it goes into the swale, into the pipe, under the driveway, back into the wetlands in the same direction that it went in the first place.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments from the public? I wanted to read the two letters that are here. The first is from Scott Christensen. Is he here? No? If not, I, Scott Christensen of 510 Linwood Street, have taken the time to review the plans for the home to be built on the property of 498 Linwood Street by Mr. Shane Crowley. I have no objections with said plan, nor do I have any issues with Mr. Crowley building his home behind my property. He lives at 510 Linwood Street.
He's immediately to the right of the driveway.
In the house? Oh, okay.
Okay, and the second letter is addressed, it says to the Town of Abington Conservation Commission. It is from a Matthew Hannigan. Is he here? No? Letter from resident regarding meeting agenda, notice of intent, Sean Criley, JNS Realty Trust. And it says, Dear members of the Conservation Commission, my name is Matthew Hannigan, and I reside at 352 Diane Circle. Oh. Which abuts the property in question. I was unable to make this meeting due to work. I would like the Conservation Commission to be made aware of the fact that I have appealed the October 10th decision made by the Zoning Board of Appeals regarding Mr. Crowley's request for a variance. This dispute has yet to be resolved, and the appeal has not been withdrawn or dismissed. At this point, I've been shown multiple versions of proposed plans by Mr. Crowley, all with the exact same date on them. I would like to verify and ensure that the proposed plans as submitted to the Conservation Commission for consideration include 2 added drain pipes, 12 and 18 inches, to be constructed underneath the proposed elevated driveway to help prevent any undue water buildup and flooding, which could negatively impact my property. This is a specific amendment to the original plans and was proposed by an independently hired engineer who is not under contract with either Mr. Crowley or the town of Abington. Moreover, I would request the Conservation Commission specifically include implementation of these drainage pipes into the orders of conditions, and also include the stipulation that they be consistently maintained and kept properly open and functioning. So I'll pass that around if you guys want to read it again.
If I may, those are the 2 pipes that I've shown.
Right, and you've shown them there, and I think you have. Did you provide us details of the pipes or the size of the pipes?
The size of the pipes is shown on the plan.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought I saw them.
18
Yeah.
inch?
Typical, yeah, there's the 18-inch, there's an 18-inch and a 12-inch.
Okay, so the 2 that he referenced in the letter are
Correct.
shown on the plans.
Correct, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and those will be incorporated into our orders of conditions if we approve them.
When did he appeal the October 10th?
You have to appeal within a certain
In
amount of time.
November, he appealed it.
And they haven't voted on it,
It's
on the appeal? Still in the process?
Still in the
technically
process, yeah.
Yeah, it's in process, but technically with the courts currently, the appeal is under default.
Oh, it's in
For lack of
court?
response, but yeah, it's
Oh.
still registered with the court.
Okay.
But the issues involved in that letter haven't been taken care of.
Right, no, I understand that.
Mr. Hannigan was the one who
I'm just,
hired the engineer, and I know.
You are,
Shane Crowley,
thank you.
544 Linwood Street. I know as you mentioned, what he wanted was in that order of conditions, that those pipes be mentioned, and also that the maintenance be mentioned. So I know that's what he wanted written in the order of conditions as opposed to just said on the plan.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments, discussion? Yes?
Probably 544 Linwood Street. As far as Mr. DeGrelli's land is concerned, his land is 10 feet higher than my son's house is gonna be. Now, in order for the water to get from my son's house land to his house, my son's house would be underwater. What he has over in his backyard is pockets of water, which has nothing to do with the water. That's where my son's house is going. That land continues to go down to Beaver Brook at a, what do you think, John, at a rate of like a foot every 5 feet or something?
Yeah, well,
It's a continual drop. Water doesn't go uphill. Mr. Norelli will never get water from my son's house.
What if the dam over there they're building gets clogged up?
It's
I
not a
will.
dam. It's
I
not a
will.
dam.
I will. There's 2 pipes.
Actually,
Then my son's house will be underwater.
Well,
Okay, excuse me, gentlemen, through me, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, it'll be in the order of conditions that those pipes will have to be maintained. And the riprap will keep it from vegetation from growing up. And just to explain a little better about the riprap, if you get on the highway and you see all that stone on a hill, on a roadway on 128, that's riprap. And they put that in just to keep vegetation and so forth from growing up.
Clogging up the-
Right. It's specifically manufactured for that.
And if there is an issue, you do have, the neighbors have recourse to come to us if
Yes.
there is flooding and they're not resolving it. So there is a recourse there, you know,
And it would
between,
be this same body.
and the zoning board as well, since it appears that they approved the same thing. Or maybe they didn't, I don't know what's in the plans.
The plans that the ZBA approved did not reflect the drainage pipes.
Okay, so it would be us. Are there any other comments from the public? Anything else from the board? We need to continue the hearing. We're gonna go out and walk the site. we'll have to decide whether we'll work with the applicant to figure out when's a good time. And we will also wait for the DEP number and the replication plan,
Yes.
so that we can, and so we'll meet in 2 more weeks. Is that our next meeting? And how does our agenda look? Will you have the replication plan done in time for the next meeting? Okay.
Yeah, right here somewhere.
Calendar?
Yeah.
It would be the 11th.
Okay, so it would be February 11th. With
March-
your permission,
Oh.
March
yeah,
11th.
March 11th.
With your permission, we're going to continue the hearing. You guys are okay with that? Do I have a motion to continue to March 11th?
11th to 25.
Motion to continue to March 11th?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the meeting's adjourned for today. We're going to meet again on March 11th. It'll be posted on our agenda as well. And you will not see a public notice in the newspaper, nor will you get cards. So you need to make sure you mark that down on your calendar when you go home.
Same time.
Our meetings start at 7. You can tell, we try to do them in order of, the hearings in order of how they show on the agenda, but that doesn't always work. So you might want to be here 7 if you can be. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll work with Nancy to set up a date to go out there.
Fine.
Sure.
You know,
Whatever's good for you, we'll make sure
Right.
we're available.
Okay, great, thank you. Excuse me, Mr. Gumprelli, I think you left
Oh,
this
yeah,
plan.
right, thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, wow, look at all these pretty pictures.
You want these? You want these?
Nancy, how are you doing on plans? Got a plan?
You know what, I'll take them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cards. Give us the butters list. Okay.
Do you guys want to set up a time or?
Not here right now, no. I'm
Fine.
not prepared.
I think I wanted to work it through Nancy and Dennis to pick a time. I'm
Okay.
thinking a Saturday morning maybe, guys. Would that work?
Some Saturday.
Yeah.
I'd like to wait till, not this coming Saturday, because it's supposed to be freezing cold.
Right, the week after maybe?
Yeah.
The week after, so probably in 2 Saturdays.
Right.
I just think it will help us to walk through the
Yeah,
site.
yeah.
Okay?
All right, thank you very much.
All right.
Like the 8th. So see if we can get, that would work out. I have another butter card here, Nancy. That's to yours. So next is, I'm going to go back to correspondence.
Oh.
Okay.
Have a good night. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
In there legally.
Okay, we have a letter from Ralph Tenney, the environmental consultant that's working on the Anderson Realty Trust property at 123 Center Ave. That's where the buildings came down.
Yep.
And he's notifying us that over the next 6 months, they're going to continue to conduct field work related to the cleanup of the gasoline contamination at the site. And he expects to be removing up to 300 cubic yards of contaminated soils, maybe excavated and transported. They're not expecting any imminent hazards to health and welfare of the public. And all field work will be conducted in level D personnel protection, which means they're going to wear hard hats and boots probably if the level of protection is upgraded during the course of the work to level C or above, which is like asbestos stuff. They're going to notify the Board of Health. They have to notify us, and we can get hard copies of the report. My only concern is if he does excavate there, that he notify us when he's excavating, because he's, right next to the river. So that would be my only comment there. Nancy, could we write him a short letter that thank him for sending us the letter, and that if any excavation is going to occur, that he needs to work with the board for the excavation, because it's not an emergency, so that they probably actually have to file with us. Okay, that's that one. Oh dear, I'm going to do that one. Oh, this is the DOT. For Route 18 widening, the variance that they've submitted, the DEP appears that they have granted, yes, they have granted the variance. Oh, wait a sec, work may not, that's a superseding order. I think DEP must make waive. So this has to go to the commissioner. DEP can't waive it, they have to have the commissioner approve it. And so they're sending it up to the commissioner for DOT. And I think these are, this is for Weymouth, Abington, and it's the ANRAD, you know, the wetlands delineation and the 2 notice of intents. So this is all about the DOT stuff. So basically, they're still waiting to get through their process, it looks like, if I've got that right.
They're working on it.
They're still working on it.
Okay.
They've looked at it and realized it needs to go to the commissioner to get approval. And we got the old Colony Planning Council agenda for February 26th, which is tomorrow. They have a meeting at 7 p.m. if anyone's interested in attending. Anything else, Nancy, or is that it?
Good.
Oh, that's easy. Okay. Meeting notes? Do we have meeting notes?
There, yeah.
Minutes?
The minutes. Do you guys want to take a minute to read them?
Quiet. The kids must have all left. Huh?
Yeah, it's really quiet now. Nice job, Nancy, as always. Okay. Still reading.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Jerry, it looks like you did a building permit on
Yes.
302 Rockland Street?
Yes, all
What,
set.
what were they doing there?
Addition, right, what the heck?
They just had an addition?
It's pretty old. This was started back in a year ago.
Oh, my goodness.
I was the first one to sign it since a year. Did you see that?
Huh.
No, I didn't.
John Stone's side, 2613. And Ken Cornell's 32013.
Wow. So,
I guess it took me to get lost along the way somewhere.
Mhm. Okay,
We're building an existing home and all that stuff.
okay. Anything anybody wants to talk about, new business? Anything for the next agenda? What is on our agenda for next time, Nancy?
275 Chestnut Street.
275 Chestnut Street is on, and anything else?
Finally. And the continuation from this.
And the continuation from this,
Tonight.
okay. All right. So,
That's it, as of now.
okay, thank you. Is Mr. DeAndrea coming then, or is it after that? The property on Highland Street?
No, I don't know.
Okay. All right, might
I'm
ask
not
Dennis
sure if
that.
Dennis, yeah, it's written or not.
Okay,
Can we
great.
get the big room? We're gonna need it.
All right. So anything else? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Good job,
A wrap.
Kathy.
Do you want to turn off the camera?